Hello everyone, I'm Brianna Godson and I'll be going over adaptation and mitigation efforts in Alaska. Let's get started. I'm excited to share what I've learned so far. Before I continue, it's important to know exactly what adaptation and mitigation means. So adaptation is the process of being able to adjust to current and future effects climate change has. The adaptation efforts I'm going to focus for this presentation is agriculture. Mitigation is an attempt to make the impacts of climate change less severe by preventing or reducing emission. The goal here is to reduce carbon in the atmosphere, which will lead to lowering of temperatures. The mitigation efforts I'll be going over are the uses of how we can use seaweed and forests to stabilize our climates in Alaska. Although it is extremely unfortunate Alaska continues to face climate change, the change comes with a benefit that we can take advantage of: agriculture. Alaska is the largest state, yet it has one of the smallest agricultural industries across the U.S. Alaska relies heavily on imported food, which makes it incredibly expensive and therefore unreasonable for natives in rural areas to buy. The graphs listed below are the changes made by climate that are obviously not good, but it does provide more opportunity for agriculture in Alaska, which may help feed the growing population of hungry natives and families. The three areas impacted by climate change that may help agriculture in Alaska are annual temperature increases, increased projected growing seasons, and increased annual precipitation. You can see these changes within the graphs. All of these changes are not ideal. It's best to try and make something good out of it. While climate change impacts have caused an increase in food scarcity, an increase in agriculture may be Alaska's saving grace. To take full advantage of the opportunity that has been presented in the agricultural industry, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has published a 143-page guide and workbook specifically made to help guide farmers in Alaska. It is pretty amazing how detailed this book is. The guide explains what climate change is and its impact on agriculture. It lists adaptation strategies and approaches to meet an individual farmer's needs. The image on the right is a 5-step guide for farmers to use that includes climate change considerations into long-range and annual operation plans. It is truly an awesome resource. Next, I'll be going over mitigation efforts in forests and peatlands. Remember, mitigation is used to reduce carbon emissions. Forests have a huge potential to hold and store carbon. Over a third of the world's carbon is stored in these biomes. Between 60 and 70% of Alaska's land mass is covered by these biomes, yet over 1 million acres have been cut down. Therefore, it's best to implement more care regarding the forest to increase opportunities for natural climate solutions. We can do this in two ways. One, improve forest management, and two, continue to reestablish forests on deforested lands. We can also set up programs to incentivize individuals to protect the forests. Carbon credits are a transparent, measurable, and results-based way for companies to support activities such as protecting and restoring irrecoverable natural carbon sinks, like the forests and marine ecosystems, and create carbon removal technology that keeps global climate goals within reach. Carbon credits can be monetized, which is the incentive to get people on board. Currently, Alaska Native corporations are pioneering carbon credit projects by designing portions of their land for long-term protection. Alaska holds more than 46,000 miles of coastline and is home to thousands of harvesters, maritime tradespeople, and shoreside seafood processing infrastructure. Just as forests act as carbon sinks, hosting offshore seaweed production has tremendous opportunity to absorb carbon, generate revenue, and promote economic activity. Research has shown that seaweed is actually able to capture and sequester carbon at faster rates than land forest. Seaweed has different species, such as kelp, which grows at an average 2 feet a day. This growth rate means more photosynthesis potential and carbon dioxide absorption. When the seaweed dies, most of the carbon that is absorbed is locked in its tissues and won't be released back into the atmosphere. It will be transported to the ocean floors. There are many benefits of growing seaweed. Seaweed aquaculture contributes to climate change adaptation by damping wave energy and protecting shorelines, and by elevating pH and supplying oxygen to the waters, thereby locally reducing the effects of ocean acidification and deoxygenation. This is a fun fact I thought was amusing, but implementing seaweed in cattle feed can lower methane emissions from cattle. Seaweed is able to do this because it produces a bioactive compound called bioform, which prevents the production of methane. More seaweed diet equals less methane burps by cows. And lastly, seaweed can also be used for biofuel production with a potential CO2 mitigation capacity in terms of avoiding emissions from fossil fuels. Seaweed aquaculture can also help reduce the emission from agriculture by improving soil quality by substituting synthetic fertilizer. Alaska has huge potential to implement the growth of seaweed to help mitigate climate change and boost the economy. This concludes my portion of the presentation. I hope you enjoyed learning about it as much as I did. And here's a picture of a cow eating seaweed. Thank you.